Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 horror sequel, The Jester 2. The film is written and directed by Colin Chuck, and it stars Michael Sheffield as the Jester, and we have Caitlin Thretham as Max. Now, the film follows Max, who is a teenager who is obsessed with magic. She absolutely loves magic, and she wants to go trick or treating, but she's getting too old for it now. But she's all dressed up like a magician, so she decides to go out anyway to try and drown her sorrows and have a bit of fun. And she crosses paths with the sinister Jester that we met in the first film. However, she kind of tricks the Jester with a magic trick. Which basically makes them inseparable, because the Jester now needs her, because the Jester has to complete 4 magic tricks for 4 different people on this Halloween night, otherwise his soul will go to hell. So he needs her to do the magic tricks, and he will take care of the rest. She obviously resists this, and there is like a back and forth between them to kind of get the upper hand. Right, what are my thoughts on The Jester 2? Well, I remember the first one of this. I mean, I don't remember it massively in detail. I remember thinking there were some fun moments in it. And it had some similarities to things that we'd seen before and stuff like that. And quite an interesting physical performance by the guy playing the Jester, Michael Sheffield. And this is a solid sequel, if I'm being particularly honest. Initially, I wasn't impressed with where the film started. It felt like it was a bit of a slow start. And the introduction of the Jester and stuff didn't really make a great deal of sense into this film and what have you. But once we were introduced to Max, this young teenaged girl, the film started picking up really fast. And when she first meets the Jester, and then they basically have to it gets to the point where the Jester needs her. The dynamic shifts then, and we get a fairly interesting story going on, I think, in this film. It's not just a film of this guy dressed like a jester going around and tormenting and killing people as it was in the first film, really. You know what I mean? This time round, we learn that there's rules to be followed. There's a whole sequence where we even hear the Jester talk. Well, not specifically talk, but talk through others, through dead bodies and stuff, when he communicates with Max. And we learn, so that the film kind of expands its mythology a little bit more. We learn a little bit more about the Jester, what his purpose is, how he got to do what he does, sort of thing. And it adds a new layer, I think, to the story here, as a sequel should. A sequel, if it's going to build on what the first film gave us, you should give us more of that, but also, evolve the story a little bit more, evolve the characters a little bit more. And this certainly does that. And sometimes you can overdo it in some of these films that you watch. They explain too much. And it kind of gets a bit convoluted. They don't really do that here. They just explain enough. So it adds a new layer to the Jester. So the best I could figure watching this is he's got 4 people that he has to do a magic trick with. And he's got this candle with these nails in it. And if the trick is successfully completed, and these 4 people are killed, are sacrificed, then he can carry on for another year, kind of doing what he does. If it doesn't happen like that, then he loses his soul, if you like. Satan will claim him, somewhat along them lines. And because he was tricked by accident, if you like, by this Max, who's really into magic, she now is in charge of doing the tricks. He can't do them anymore. She has to do the tricks, so he really needs her. And that adds a different layer, something different to the movie. So he's got to do these 4 kills, but he can kill others, as he does in this film, but they aren't part of the 4, if you like. It has to be, he has to perform a magic trick with them for them to be part of the 4, but he does kind of randomly kill quite a few other people here in this film. And it's quite fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. I mean, some of the kills are inventive. Some of the kills are really quite graphic as well, which I enjoyed. And it just feels like they've taken it up a notch. This film in every department. The visuals, it looks like it's well made. It looks like there's been an increase of budget. Like I said, they've evolved the character a little bit more. The Jester, we've learned a little bit more about him. That adds a new layer to that character. They've given him a slightly new look in this one than the last one, which kind of works. And I really enjoy. I like this character of Max, this young magician, this young lass magician. She was a good addition to the film. She was smart. She was resourceful. And vulnerable all at the same time. She was actually a very, very good choice. Yes, there are moments where it reminded me of the Terrifier. It's trying a little bit of that, but it not to the level where you kind of think, it's just trying to kind of copy it now. Well, it isn't. You know what I mean? It's only because you've got the Jester, this violent, character, and the final girl, Max, is strong and resourceful, very much like the character in Terrifier 2 and 3 sort of thing that he goes up against. So I enjoyed everything here that was going on in the film for the most part. It kind of took everything up to another notch. It made it a little bit more fun to watch. I thought the performances were very, very good. I think Michael Sheffield does a very good physical performance here for the Jester. Very similar to obviously what you would see for the guy who plays Terrifier, whose name escapes me at the minute. There's a lot of good physical performers out there, and they can really deliver if they're given the opportunity. And this guy really does deliver here in regards to the performance that he gives. It works well. It's sinister at times, but also it leans at times into humour as well. And there are some lighter, humorous moments in the film. So we had a strong performance by him doing a physical performance, and a very strong performance by the young actress playing Max. I thought she did a really, really good job. And it didn't overly confuse the film with too many characters. Yes, there's reappearing characters. I don't mean from the first film, but from this film in here. But you don't really feel bogged down of having to remember them or remember the names. They're kind of there to kind of push the plot forward. The main two really that carry this film are the characters of Max and the Jester, and they make a good kind of double act for the most part. So I'm not going to lie, I do think this is definitely an improvement over the first one. I think there's some way to go with this to kind of keep elevating it. I hope we get another one and push it up again. Let's get a little bit more. But I think it's on the right track. I had quite a good time watching this one, and if you enjoyed the first one, you will definitely enjoy this. It's clearly a stronger film. So thanks for watching. I will of course be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.